Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we're doing a tutorial for the module 5611 in this GA2100 G-Shock. Now just like in all my other tutorial videos, in the description you will find a table of content with time codes, so you can jump to specific parts of the video or functions of the watch. However, I would advise you to watch the whole video the first time, just so you get acquainted with all the functions that this watch offers. Now the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to check and correct the hand's position, because this is something you will have to do whenever you change the battery on this watch. All analog digital G-Shocks set the hands depending on what you input on the digital display. And once you change the hands, these are going to get messed up, because whenever you put a new battery in, the watch assumes that hands are pointing exactly at midnight. So if they're pointing anywhere else, you're going to mess them up. Now to check the hands, you have to be in the home screen, and you toggle it with the mode button until you see time displayed right here. So let's move. There, time, and you can hear that it's a higher pitched beep letting you know that you reached back to the home screen. Now once in the home screen, you just compare the time displayed on the digital display to the position of the hands. If they're okay, if they match each other, then the hands are oriented correctly. Now sometimes, since this watch can display both time, hours and minutes, and also the calendar data, so it can sometimes display the month and date, to toggle it back to time so you can compare, you simply press the lower button. So press it, and now we can see it's 11:03. So these hands are okay. To check this one, it just has to point to the correct day of the week, which is also okay. Now in case these are not pointing to where they should, you're gonna have to correct them. And to correct these hands, while in the home screen, you press and hold the adjust button for 5 seconds. So you have to ignore the first beep that's gonna sound for setting the time, and keep the button pressed until you have H set or hand setting displayed right here. So press and hold, still hold, and there, now you can release. And now as you can see, the first thing that the watch is going to ask us is the sub or the subdial hand. And the subdial hand has to point at Sunday, like this. If it's pointing anywhere other than that, you have to correct that using these two buttons. So as you can see, as I'm pressing these buttons, the hand is moving slightly. So let's put it back to Sunday. You can also speed scroll with the hands by pressing and holding the buttons. Now the next thing is the hour and minute hand. To adjust them, you simply press the mode button, and the watch is gonna write midnight, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and the hands are gonna get into that position. Again, if they're pointing anywhere other than exactly at 12, you have to correct them using these two buttons. Now the minute and hour hand are actually connected. So to move the hour hand, you actually have to move the minute hand, like so. And again, you can do the speed scrolling by pressing and holding. So let's go back. You can go both ways. So let's go back to midnight. So now we're going to just wait for all the hands to get to midnight, and pressing any of the buttons is going to stop the speed scrolling. Let's adjust it finally, like this. And that's it. Once all the hands are pointing like this, it means they're pointing correctly. And now to exit the hand setting mode, you simply press the adjust button again, and they're gonna jump back to showing the exact time displayed right here. And that's it when it comes to hand setting. Now, while in the home screen, I'm going to show you how to adjust the time, date, calendar, and all the other functions of this watch. Now to do so, while in the home screen, you press and hold the adjust button and release after the first beep to enter the adjusting screen. So press and hold and release. And now the first thing that this watch is going to ask you what your home city is. And this is important to set up correctly, because the times in the world time function are actually calculated based on what you set up right here. So to scroll through the cities, you can go due east, and you can go due west, and you don't have to find your exact city, just a city that corresponds to your time zone. Since I live in Croatia, Paris, Rome, even Berlin, they're all the same time zone, so I can select any one of those that I want. Once you've selected the correct home city, you press the mode button to move forward. Now the next thing that the watch is going to ask you is the DST, or daylight savings time. Now to toggle it on or off, you press the lower button. What this means is that you just turned off the summertime. So if your time zone is observing the summertime, you're going to toggle it here on or off. So during winter, it's going to be at off. During summer, it's going to be at on, and the watch is going to change the time accordingly by 1 hour up or 1 hour down. Now once you set up that, you press the mode button. The next thing that the watch is going to ask you is whether you want a 12 or 24-hour display. So whether you want to have an AM PM indicator, or again toggling with the lower display, you can have the military time. We're going to leave it like this. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the seconds. Now to reset the seconds, you press the lower button. And if you reset them after 30 seconds, between 30 and 59, they're going to jump back to 0, and the minutes are actually going to move by 1 up. So if I reset them right now, they're going to jump to 0, and as you can see, the minutes went to 08. Now, if you reset the seconds between, below 30 seconds, so between 0 and 29, they're going to reset to 0, but the minutes are going to stay unchanged. So let's reset them again, like so. As you can see, they jumped to 0, but the minutes were left unchanged. Now, pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the hours. And again, you can go down, up, you can go down, and you can even speed scroll by holding the buttons like so. Let's go back. Now pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the minutes. Again, you can go up, you can go down, and you can also speed scroll. Once you've set up the minutes, you press the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the year. Again, you can go down, you can go up. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the month. Again, you can go up, you can go down, and pressing it again, it's going to ask you for the date, so you repeat the process, up and down. The day of the week is calculated automatically, so the watch is not going to ask you for that. However, pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you whether you want it to make sound or beeping sounds when you press the buttons. So ketone, and again with the lower button, you can toggle it to mute or to ketone. Once you toggle it to mute, you're going to have this little indicator telling you that the mute function is currently on. We'll put it back to ketone. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the backlight duration. So if it's light set up like this at 1, it's going to stay on for 1.5 seconds once you press this button. However, you can toggle it with the lower button to 3, and now it's going to stay on for 3 seconds. Pressing the mode button again, the watch jumps back to the selection of the home city. So if you messed anything up or you want to correct your settings, simply pressing the mode button is going to cycle through all the settings and jump back to the beginning. Once you've set up everything the way you want it and you want to exit the adjusting screen, you simply press the adjust button. And there. And now the hands are going to jump back to their correct position. And this is how you set up the watch. Now, while in the home screen, like I said, pressing this button is going to toggle what this display says. So it's going to display either the time and date or the calendar data. So you press it like this and choose what you want to see. Pressing the mode button, like I said, is going to cycle through different modes until you jump back to the home screen. Pressing the adjust button just shows you what current home city you have set for. So pressing it, it's going to tell you that this watch is currently set up for Paris. Like I said, pressing and holding is going to enter the adjusting screen, and pressing and holding for more than 5 seconds is going to enter the hand setting, the hand setting screen. Now pressing this button is going to activate the LED light for the digital screen. Now this watch also has a hand shift function where the hands move away from the screen to not obscure the data displayed here. This is automatically activated whenever you're entering the adjusting screens like you saw when the hands would jump to this position or that position. However, you can also manually activate the hand shift function by pressing this and this button simultaneously. So if you press them at the same time, the hands are going to move away from the screens. However, currently, they're not obscuring the screen, so the watch is simply ignoring my command. Now, that's it when it comes to the home screen, so now let's move on to the next function. The next function is the world time function. In the world time function, this watch can display up to 31 time zones and 48 cities. To see the world time displayed, you simply toggle it by pressing this button and you go due east. Unfortunately, you can only go due east, and once you select the time zone, it's gonna write the city of the time zone, and then it's gonna display the time of that current time zone, like you can see, 11:07. Let's move more. Let's say to Delhi. It's gonna write the whole name of the city, and then it's gonna display the time of that time zone. Now, unfortunately, you cannot go back. You cannot go due west because it just activates the light, which is a shame. Another thing that you can do in the world time function is turn the DST on for each individual time zone by pressing and holding the adjust button. So if we want to turn the DST on for Delhi, we're just going to press and hold the adjust button. It's going to say on, and it's going to move by 1 hour. So once this goes through the screen, as you can see, it's now 15:38. To turn off the DST, again, you press and hold the button there, and now the time is also going to move by 1 down, so back to 14:38. Let's just see it like so. And that's it when it comes to the world time function. Unfortunately, this watch doesn't have the time swap function, which is a shame. Now moving on. The next function is the stopwatch. This watch comes with a regular Casio stopwatch, so you can start it, you can stop it, you can reset it. It also has the split time, so you can start it. Pressing the adjust button while the stopwatch is running is just going to freeze the screen while the stopwatch keeps running in the background. To unfreeze the screen, you press the adjust button again, and this watch can also do the first and second place. So if you have two runners, once the first one goes through the finish line, you press the adjust button. Once the second one goes through the finish line, you press the lower button. Now you can read the time of the first runner, and to see the time of the second runner, you press the adjust button. Once you've written that as well, pressing the adjust button again resets the stopwatch. And that's pretty much it. So pretty simple. The next function is the countdown timer. This watch comes with a 24-hour countdown timer settable down to the second. Now this countdown timer currently is set up for 10 minutes, so I can start it, I can stop it, and again I can reset it back to the time set in memory by pressing the adjust button. To set it up to any desired time that you want between 1 second and 24 hours, while the timer is not running, you press and hold the adjust button to enter the adjusting mode of the countdown timer. And the watch is going to ask you for the hours. And now you can move forward, you can move backwards, and you can also speed scroll just like when setting up the main time. Pressing the mode button again, the watch is going to ask you for the minutes. And again, you can go up, you can go down, and you can also speed scroll. Let's put it to 0. Pressing the mode button again, like I said, this actually allows you to set it up down to a second, which is becoming rare, more and more rare on G-Shock watches, and it's a great function. If you leave it like this at 0 and exit the adjusting screen, once you start the countdown timer, it's going to start counting down from 24 hours, like so, 23, 59, 59. And once it reaches 0, it's going to beep and stop. And that's pretty much it. So stop and reset. Again, just like the world time, this unfortunately doesn't have the auto repeat function, which is one of the most useful functions combined with a countdown timer. But what can you do? And the last function that we have to cover is the alarm and hourly chime. Once in the alarm function, the watch is going to display which alarm you're currently viewing and what time it's set for. So it just set alarm 1. To toggle between the alarms, you press the lower button. So alarm 2, set for midnight. Alarm 3, set for midnight. Alarm 4, set for midnight. Alarm 5, set for midnight. And the hourly chime, this is the beep of every hour. Now both the hourly chime and the alarms can be toggled on or off by pressing the adjust button. So to turn on the hourly chime, where the watch is going to beep every full hour, you select the hourly chime like this and press the adjust button. Once you've turned it on, it's going to say SIG on, and you're going to have this SIG display, this little indicator right here. Now to turn on any of the alarms, let's say alarm 2, you select the alarm 2 and press the adjust button, and now as you can see, you have the ALM symbol right here. So that's pretty much it. Now naturally, you can also you can turn it off, and you can naturally set up the alarms to any time you desire. And please note that even if the alarm is turned off, as soon as you start adjusting it, it's going to turn itself automatically on. So as you can see, alarm, let's say 5, is currently off. Once you start adjusting it, it's going to turn itself on, and the watch is going to ask you for the hours, just like on the countdown timer and the main time. And again, you can go up, you can go down, and you can also speed scroll like this. Pressing the mode button, the watch is going to ask you for the minutes. And again, you can go up, you can go down, and you can speed scroll. Once you've selected the desired time, you press the adjust button, and this alarm has been set for 8:06 a.m. and this is a daily alarm, so it's going to repeat itself every day at 8:06 until you go into the alarm and turn it off by pressing this button to toggle it off. And as soon as you have any of the alarms turned on, you're going to have this ALM symbol right here. And that's pretty much it. So pressing the mode button again is going to take us back to the home screen. Well, that's it when it comes to this Module 5611 and the GA2100 G-Shock. I really do hope you found the video useful and that you learned a lot about your new watch, or an old watch if you were doing a battery change. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you really enjoyed and found it useful, please do like and subscribe. And until the next video, bye.